Hello and welcome to today's Facebook Live business series. I'm Jessica Ponnermeal, lead instructor for the Career Development course here at the Nutritional Therapy Association. And here at the NTA, we're not only dedicated to providing you with an exceptional education in foundational holistic nutrition, we're also here to help guide you every step of the way when it comes to business building. And that's why I am so excited to be joined today with Michelle Hoover, who is a nutritional therapy practitioner, and she's the founder of Unbound Wellness. And today she's going to be talking to us about how to grow your nutritional therapy business online. Michelle is, as I mentioned, an NTP, and she's the creator of the popular blog unboundwellness.com. After being diagnosed with Hashimoto's as a teen, she turned to nutritional therapy, a real food, paleo, and AIP template, and lifestyle changes to help manage autoimmune disease and heal her body naturally. Using her passion for holistic health and background in digital marketing, she reaches over 1 million people a year with her unique recipes, autoimmune-related blog posts, ebooks, podcast episodes, and more. So Michelle, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so honored and excited to be here.
Awesome. I can't wait. Great. Well, we're going to just dig right in here. So the first question I have for you is, can you share just a little bit more with me about what led you to becoming an NTP?
Wow, yeah. So I feel like all of us as NTPs have our own personal health story, and that's a lot of what brings us here. So I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease when I was 17, and that was a complete game changer diagnosis for me because I thought that I was just this normal, healthy person. I never thought that I would have a disease or any sort of chronic illness. And I mean, you can read, I won't go into my entire story here. It's all on my blog that it just, I was just working up to being an unhealthy person, just not really feeling that great all the time. And then when I got that diagnosis, it was a game changer because I had all this stuff to worry about that I never did before. I was constantly feeling sick. So I was the kind of person that I would sleep up to 18 hours a day sometimes. I was super fatigued. I constantly had gut issues. Like I would eat something and I would know that something was messing up my gut, something was giving me digestive issues, but I just didn't know what. And I just didn't know what to do. Like I was just constantly feeling terrible. I didn't know why. So I dabbled a little bit here and there in nutrition. I actually started college wanting to be a registered dietitian, but I realized that's not the path I wanted to go. So I pivoted. I got really into digital marketing and I did that. And I just had these intermittent health flares all throughout college. And right after I graduated college, it really just blew up again. And I realized, okay, I need to take this seriously. I need to really understand holistic health. And that's when I started diving into that. And I just had such a passion for it. And I always have, that I knew that I just wanted to make it my own business and learn even more about it. And I did tons of research of the best place out there. And I kept coming back to the NTA. So here I am.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And so had you started a blog prior to your training with NTA, or can you tell me a little bit about how that transition was for you in turning this into a business online? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So pretty much I just woke up one morning and I said, okay, like I don't want to be doing what I'm doing right now. I had a great job. I was a campaign manager and a ministry that I was just really passionate about and I loved it, but I just felt called to do something else. And I said, okay, this is what I feel called to do. And I knew that I wanted to do this in some capacity. So the second that I figured out I wanted to go to the NTA, I started Unbound Wellness. I knew that there was still a lot to learn. And I knew that I wouldn't be 100% knowledgeable in everything, but something that I stress with everybody that I talk to about this is start now. It does not matter if you have if your photography is really just on point yet, or you're like, I just don't know everything, or my website just doesn't look good. I just don't have enough time. It doesn't matter. Start now, because a year into my blog, I graduated the Nutritional Therapy Association. I already had like, this audience on my email list and people reading my blog and following me on Instagram. Like I already had a head start. So the second that I knew that I wanted to do it, I just dove right in. And I was just I was doing an audit of some recipes on my website today, and I was like, that needs to be tweaked and reshot. So there's a lot of stuff like that I did where I'm like, that's not super cute, but it's fun. Like those are the things that brought me where I am now, where I've learned a little bit. So yeah, I started it immediately. And in the beginning, when I started my blog, I wanted to be just kind of like a healthy lifestyle blogger. I didn't so much want to do food photography or recipes or anything like that. I just wanted to share about nutrition. But as I got into a little bit more, and I still share about nutrition, but I kind of dropped this mindset of, oh, I can't do that, and figured out, okay, why can't I do that? And I just dove in with really committing to learning how to put out healthy recipes to help people who are, that's a huge part of nutritional therapy, is the easy, delicious recipes that helps people. So I just really dove into that, and that part of my business just took off. And that was a slow progression. That was not overnight. I'm 3 years into this, and I'm finally at the point where it's just, the wheels are turning, and I'm able to be a little bit more passive in a lot of the things that I do. So it was a lot of work, but yeah, so that's kind of how I got into it.
That's awesome. I just want to take a moment to say that I love that you brought up starting just as soon as you made that decision that, okay, this is what I want to do, you dug in, even though the photography wasn't perfect, even though things weren't maybe exactly how you wanted them. And even though here in the present, you're looking back and you're like, ooh, okay, maybe that needs to be tweaked a little bit.
Yeah.
But the fact is you started, and that's such a valuable lesson. And I love that you brought that up, because like, for example, in the career development course, we really teach a lot about this. It's so easy to have that sort of feeling of paralyzing perfectionism that we don't want to get started because everything's not exactly how we want it to be yet. But the thing is, we won't reach that point, that better plateau or that better point, if we don't start somewhere. So I just love that I love that recommendation of digging in. Just start. And we have a comment that just came in too. Annie mentions, Michelle, you've inspired me to start one, even though I don't feel like an expert yet. I know it's a journey. So thank you, Annie, for mentioning that.
Thank you. I don't feel like an expert either.
We're all always growing, and there's always new plateaus to be reached. So
for sure.
Awesome. And so one other thing that we go into in the career development course, and something that I'd love to hear your feedback on here, is how focusing on a specific niche, which you've been digging into, that autoimmune protocol, AIP recipes. I'd love to hear how that's been a benefit for your business. And one of the reasons why I want to ask this is niching is something that we really dig into in the career development course. We go really deep into how you define your niche and why it's important to niche. And it can be scary for a lot of people. It can be scary to feel like you're kind of backing yourself into this sort of corner. So I'd love to hear from you, your experience with that as somebody who's been in the trenches, who has done it, and what your experience and advice would be regarding that.
This is a great question, because I felt like when I was starting, and I feel like with all, just coming from a marketing background, you want to reach as many people as possible. And when you first start the Nutritional Therapy Association, you first start doing that certification, you're like, oh, I just want to help everybody. Like, I'm so passionate about this. Like, my audience is everyone, anybody who wants to get better. But something that I heard somewhere, and I'm sorry, I can't credit whoever said it because you're very smart, but if you're talking to everybody, you're talking to nobody, because you're not tailoring your message. If you're just going out and saying, eat leafy greens, like that doesn't necessarily help one specific person, because you're not able to tailor that message to, okay, how to help your kids eat more leafy greens, how to help yourself as a woman who is pregnant, how to figure out what leafy greens to eat, and things like that. So you're not really able to serve your audience as best as possible and give them the most personalized information that's going to help them the most if you're not niching down. So it's scary to, feel like, well, I will reach, but you're just better helping the people that you are trying to reach. And it was hard in the beginning to really settle in to one specific niche for that same reason, is that, well, everybody who eats gluten-free I want to talk to, everybody who has Hashimoto's disease, not necessarily ones that are already in the autoimmune protocol. I want to reach the ones that aren't and bring them in, right? But the thing is with a niche is that once you get in and once you master that niche, you can always expand back out. You can always, just expand your reach a little bit. So if you're niched really down into, let's say, nursing moms, you can very easily expand out into women who are trying to become pregnant, or women who are currently pregnant. It's really easy to just expand out a little bit. Like, you're not constantly locked in this tiny, tiny box. Like, you're just in that kind of realm and world. But as far as being a niche, just going for the thing, for me, it was what I related to most. And I just created like an avatar of like the person that I really wanted to talk to. And a lot of it was just me, because, we're always pulling from our own story and our own experiences. And for me, it's like, I knew that this is really what I needed. And I saw other people needed it. And that's really how I chose that niche.
I love it. And such a great place to start. And I think so many practitioners can identify with this. They've come into this field having had their own health struggles. And so what better place to start in many cases than with somebody who you can identify so closely with, because you've been there and you've gone through those struggles, and you know exactly what those people are dealing with and what their problems are and what they need. And I'd love to hear how that informed like some of your early content and some of your early recipes. Can you kind of take us back there into the beginning and tell us a little bit about kind of, getting, in that getting started phase, how did you think of the first content for your platform?
Yeah, I feel like the first piece of content that I wrote that really, I don't want to say viral, because that's such a, what does that even mean anymore? But the first piece of content that I wrote that I really saw resonate with people, and I really saw people commenting and sharing, and I figured out like, oh my gosh, like this is something that could really help people, was I wrote a blog post on weight gain with Hashimoto's. And that is just, such a huge pain point for people. It was a huge pain point for me. So it was something that I was going through myself. I go through a lot of periods when I have Hashimoto's flares that I lose weight, and then I get healthy and I gain the weight back. And people are like, oh, like you gained weight. It's like, well, the blog, you could search that blog post and it's all about that. I still really like that blog post, and I'm really happy that I put it out. But yeah, that was the thing that really just informed my early content of like, okay, look, what is the pain point for me? Like, what do I know that other people struggle with? And what is something that I can write authentically about? Because I am not a mother. I can't write authentically about being a nursing mom. Like, I just can't do that yet. I will in the future, but just not right now. So I wanted it to just write something that was, that I could speak from a place of be genuine from. So I think that that's really important when you're trying to figure out that early content. Like, what can I speak about that I'm not necessarily an expert on, but I've lived and I want to genuinely help people.
Yes, I love that. And I love that you're tying in that element of wanting to genuinely help people, because I think that as practitioners, we sometimes feel a little hesitant to market ourselves or feel a little hesitant to do marketing activities. But I find that when we plug into that specific vein of, okay, I'm doing this to help others, how can I help? How can I best serve? It makes it feel better. It makes it feel more authentic. It makes it feel more genuine. So I love that you speak back to, how can you use this in a way to help people?
Yeah.
Awesome. And then we have a question that came in from Mallory. She mentioned, did you promote the post on other platforms before people started sharing it?
Yeah, for sure. So to me, if you're a blogger, if you're an NTP, whatever you are, we're so
Oh, looks like we might have lost Michelle. Oh, hang on, here we go. Let's see. Okay, I think you're back, but I think we might have lost the audio. Um, let's see. Do you want to maybe unplug your headphones and see if we can do it like that? I think maybe what we can do is just hop out and then hop back in and see if the quick restart will help. So everybody in the audience, hang tight. We're going to be right back, and we're gonna continue this in just a moment.
Hello again. Welcome back. Sorry for that brief interruption. It looks like we have a solution to our audio now, so we should be able to hear Michelle again. So we are going to dig right back in to where we left off. So, Michelle, we were talking about, let me recollect myself.
Yeah, the question, I remember the question because it was a really good question. Yeah. So we were talking about kind of like a viral piece of content and how that actually got there. Like, how did you get people to start sharing it? So basically, what I think is really important for everybody to remember, whether you're a blogger or an NTP or, just getting some sort of platform out there, is that we're so obsessed with social media right now. We're all on Instagram and Facebook, and, we're using it right now. Like, it is a very helpful resource. However, we don't own those platforms. Like, we cannot, like, if I posted that post onto Instagram natively, 3 years ago at this point, nobody would care about it anymore. Nobody would share it anymore. Like, it would be lost way, way, way down in the feed. So the most important thing is to have that content on a platform that you own, on a platform that people can search and find things and share them. So having it there first as like the anchor that people are going to be able to share it going forward. But yes, it's also not, if you build it, they will come. Like, if I would have just put that post on my blog and press publish and like walk away, people wouldn't have actually found it likely. I had to go out and publish it on social media and do that sharing, but I was directing them back to the source that they could actually share from. Because if I posted it on Facebook, they would have shared the post once and it would have been lost in everybody's feed. If I would have done it on Instagram, same exact thing. So posting it to a platform that is share friendly and then sharing it with people on social media, building an email list, sharing it to that, sharing it to relevant Facebook groups, things of that nature. So that's a good question. I'm glad that we brought that up.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that actually sparks another question that we had received in the comments in part one, which, and pardon me, I'm not able to capture the name of the person who'd asked this, but she had asked, depending on your niche, does that inform what social media platforms you hang out on, basically, and that you share your content on?
I think so. I think that some people, it's just not really relevant to be on Twitter, or it's more relevant to spend more time on Instagram than on Facebook. And I think that that's something that if you're really just deep into that niche, you can figure out where your people are, but I would not let that determine too much, Sorry.
You might have an echo here.
I would not let that determine.
It's okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Is it better?
Yeah.
Phantom audio today.
Phantom audio. So sorry, viewers. We've got some echo. What we've done for our workaround is I'm channeling Michelle in on my phone, which is why you might be hearing a little bit of an echo. So
okay,
bear with us. Thank you. Okay, great.
Okay, so Yeah, I wouldn't let that hang you up so much on, where should I be? What should I be doing? But yeah, I think it's important to start with the niche you want, have it hosted on one platform, and then figure out, okay, where are my people? And yeah, I get the most bang for my buck, so to speak, like the most traffic, the most viewers from Pinterest, because I have recipes and that's where people are searching that stuff and finding it. Instagram is great for building community, but that's the kind of thing that when you get deeper into it, you really do the research of where are my people and what are all of these platforms for.
Yes, exactly. That's such a great point. Your blog is so recipe centric that it absolutely makes sense that Pinterest would be such a great source of traffic for you. Whereas maybe somebody who didn't have so many recipes, didn't have so many visual images, then another platform might serve them better. And similarly, if somebody had, their target market was very corporate or very much corporate professionals, LinkedIn might be a platform that they might want to be on. Whereas, so I can see definitely how your content with your recipes, that makes absolute sense why Pinterest would be such a valuable platform for you.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So my next question here is, so not only do you offer nutritional therapy services, but you also share freebies like weekly recipes and ebooks. And the question here is, how is offering these types of free content grown your business? And what would you tell someone who's wanting to offer free content like this, but they're not really sure how to get started?
Yeah, so I'm at the point in my business where I don't see clients one-on-one anymore. I have a team of other NTPs that I refer out to. So my business still technically, it takes one-on-one clients, but I'm able to work with other NTPs whose passion is more one-on-one and my passion is the content creation. But I wasn't always like that. I started with putting out the free content, and then that helped me bring in more clients. So I think it's a little bit scary in the beginning because you say, oh, well, if I give away everything for free, nobody's going to want to hang out with me as a practitioner. Why bother if everything is out there for free? But that is the way that you build legitimacy. That is the way that you build community. That is the way that you show people, okay, this is what I stand for. This is what I am going to help you with. These are the things that I specialize in. And maybe you really specialize in meal planning. I did a lot of work with people who were in the AIP space and trying to do all that sort of thing. So I did a lot of that work. And I think that when you don't really even know where to start, figuring out, okay, what is it that I really want to help people with, and what is the top tier of that? Generally with free content versus paid, people like to say, giving something to somebody for free, tell them what to do. And when it's paid, tell them how to do it. So you're giving them a little bit more value. If you're you're not going to be able to help people bio individually on a blog, but you will say, hey, this protocol is great. Hey, these foods are great. And you're able to dig into that even deeper on a bio individual basis with people one-on-one. So I would not be afraid with putting out free content and people not wanting to work from you that way. But just being really transparent about putting up those boundaries of coming back and saying, okay, well, I am a practitioner though, so I can't really give bio individual help to people one-on-one. These are the free things that I put out, and now here are my services, how you can work with me one-on-one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that seems like such a very natural progression. I like that distinction that you make between the what and the how. That's a great point. Awesome. And so most bloggers are their own photographer, their own web programmer, their own marketer, et cetera, as I'm sure you know and have experience with. And my question for you is, a lot of practitioners have some concern about the technical side of things when they are thinking about starting a blog. So I'd love to hear
how was that for you? Like, how was that journey for you, kind of learning and wrapping your head around all those technical things? And what would you tell somebody who feels uncomfortable learning those who wants to start a blog, but they're afraid of or uncomfortable with learning those technical aspects?
Yeah. So, when I started, I had a little bit of a head start because my background was in digital marketing. So I understood some of these things a little bit more, but I am still a huge fish out of water with a lot of things. So with photography, I paid for a lot of courses. I'm about to go to another workshop. I just put my head down and I really learned them. So it's really overwhelming in the beginning of like, how am I ever going to catch up? How am I ever going to be able to do these things? But you can put your head down and you can learn. Like, you learned all this amazing stuff in the Nutritional Therapy Association. You can learn all of this. As far as like a technical person or a web person, in the beginning I did a lot of that myself, and it was just entirely too stressful for me. So I wound up hiring somebody to help me just be my webmaster. So outsourcing is such an amazing self-care activity, and that is the only person that's really on my team. They're really just that's somebody that does that as their own business, and then I hired them to be, I went into their business and hired them to do mine. So yeah, I think that, people are really afraid to do their own accounting, things like that. There's really low commitment ways that you can find help from people that isn't going to completely break the bank and is really worth its weight in gold when it comes down to, time that it'll save you. Like, it'd be great if I had like an on-hand tech person right now.
But hey, case in point, you figure it out, you figure it out and you make it happen.
Husband, if he's not here,
yeah.
You would have this figured out.
Yeah, no, I understand. Okay, awesome. Thank you. And we'd love to hear some also of the strategies that you've used to market and promote yourself online. I know there's so many different strategies out there, and I'd really love to hear what some of your favorites are, what you found to be most successful.
So I think what everything will come back to, and what the core of this is everybody's always talking about this algorithm isn't working, like this algorithm's against me, this platform, just isn't working for me anymore. And I will talk about some of those, but what it all comes back to is you just putting out good quality content and being authentic and building a relationship with your audience. So no matter what you do to promote yourself, no matter how much the Instagram algorithm hates you or your SEO isn't really working well, people will come back. There are so many blogs and bloggers and Instagram profiles that I don't see them constantly in my feed or anything, but I come back to them because I love them. I value their content. That's the kind of person that you want to be, that you put out such amazing content, you put out such amazing information, and you offer such value as a practitioner or a blogger with what you share that people are coming back. And one of the best ways for you to build community and hype, and a lot of you guys as nutritional therapy practitioners know this, is referrals. So that's the kind of thing that you want to be able to put out online, something that people will come and tag their friends in, that will share with their friends. Pretty much if I'm like really watching my Instagram followers, which I don't, but if I've seen in the past, like I'll put out a recipe for brownies and then somebody will tag their friend and then I see that friend follow me, immediately after. Like, that is so much better to grow your following online, just having that shareability and not asking for it. So it's like, oh, tag a friend. Like, yeah, you would have a lot more people tag friends if you ask them, but it's not authentic. Creating something that people just naturally want to share. And then aside from that, obviously social media is a big piece. So Instagram has really helped me personally with building community and putting out more of myself and more personality behind my brand and my blog, because on my blog, I'm just, like, here's a brownie recipe, here's some enchiladas, here's this, here's that. Like, you don't really get to know the person, and people don't sit around and read me talk about my cat for an entire blog post, but they will watch 15 seconds on Instagram stories, me with the cat. Like they will see that, and they will see when I go on a trip somewhere, they'll watch that, or when I'm sharing something, authentic that I really care about, they'll watch that, and I will watch other people do things like that. So Instagram is really great for growing community that way. Pinterest is amazing if you're doing things like recipes. That is the way to really reach a volume of people, because it's a search engine that's very open-ended. So if you're trying to create new cool things or just really beautiful recipes, that's where people are going to find you way before they will on Instagram. Pinterest, on average, the longevity of a piece of content that it'll be shared for is up to 4 months. I have things that, years after I pin them, they still get a lot of traffic to them. Instagram, you're lucky if it's 2 days. Like, you're very lucky. Mm-hmm. So you need to really put consideration into that when you're figuring out where to put a lot of your effort. And then I think number one, if you're really trying to drive traffic to your site, that is sustainable, that is going to convert well, is Google. So search engine optimization. And I have a course myself that I'm still going through on search engine optimization. There's always something new. I'm always learning. And I'm probably going to do more of that course this weekend. So there's so much to know with that. The course I'm taking is #Jeff.com. You can check him out. He's a really great resource. There's lots of SEO resources out there. So I would, when you think about, so if somebody is in your area and they're looking, or even not in your area, they're looking for I keep using the nursing mothers, but I don't know. Sure. If somebody's searching for nutritionists that help nursing mothers, they're not going to really search that on Instagram. Like, maybe they'll bump into it, but they're not necessarily like a warm lead. Like, they're not, if they just bump into a nutritionist that's into that, like, then there's 10 other people there, or it's somebody that just happens to be talking about something different that day. But if they're Googling it, that means that they are intending to work with a nutritionist that does that certain thing. And if you come up on top, like, that is a way warmer lead to actually convert a client rather than just, having a hashtag.
Totally. And I also just love you talking about the fact that you're still learning, even with your enormous platform that you've created, with the success that you've created. Like you're saying, you're still mid a course about SEO, and you're going to work on it more this weekend. And it's just a testament to the fact that it is something that we all always have to keep learning and keep growing and keep digging in and getting our hands dirty and figuring it out. And that doesn't stop, And so thanks for sharing that as well.
Never.
Yeah, exactly. Because things change, and also there's just a lot to know about this, this field. Is. Yeah, absolutely. We have a question come in from Andrea. If you don't mind answering, she asks, in terms of income as an online blogger, do you find that most of your incomes comes from the consultations that for the other, you mentioned you have other sort of NTPs that you work with. Would you say that most of it is from that, or from blogging? Just kind of like maybe a general idea of, as a blogger, maybe what some income sources could look like and how that might work.
Yeah. So I don't really make a lot off of consultations anymore. Mm-hmm. When I did that more actively, that was a bigger income source for me. But right now it's pretty much 99% of my business is mostly coming from blogging. I have that set up, the consultations with the other NTPs, but that's mostly to be able to serve my audience of readers who are looking for people to work with, rather than like, I'm just going to make $1 million this year doing that. Like, that's not what that's about at all.
Yeah.
So as far as a blogger, it's split up. If you're looking to be a blogger, or if you're looking to make some income off of a blog, some sort of passive income off of that side of it, everybody is split differently, and everybody will tell you that something else is better. It really just depends on your business and who your audience is, what you're trying to do. So for me personally, my split comes from, I work with an ad network called Ad Thrive. So I have income from there. You have to be in a certain tier to work with that particular advertiser, but there's other advertisers like Mediavine that also, put ads on your site that are better quality ads and, ads that are not gross and annoying. You can work with them to come up with the best ads for your site. And that just really helps me be able to put out the level of content that I do share, to being able to do that. So that's a part of my business, and it's a part of most larger bloggers' businesses. Affiliate income is really huge, and that can be big for people who aren't necessarily trying to blog every single week. So let's say you love talking about locally raised meats or organ meats. Somebody like U.S. Wellness Meats, who is a great retailer, they have an affiliate program, so you can sign up with them and put on your blog or even talk to your clients like, hey, get meat from here, or Amazon, which is a great place. I put out blog posts before where I talk about, hey, if you want to learn about adrenal fatigue, check out this book. This cookbook is really great. And then you put that link there and you get a cut of that sale. So that's a really great way to earn an income in a way that's authentic, like it's things that you use, and you just get a small kickback from there. There's working with other brands to do sponsored content. And again, that just varies by person to person. And then another one that is relevant for me, and I think really relevant for a lot of other NTPs, is creating some sort of product that you can offer to the public. So people that just come to your blog or website, or people who are your clients, to give them a little bit more background and support and information. So maybe that's an online course, maybe that's an ebook. I have 2 ebooks that help supply passive income, and it also helped me a lot when I was working with clients, that I was able to give them that ebook, give them those recipes, and it still helps that when people are, just looking for a little bit more information, rather than it's kind of like a full plan, something that is fully packaged rather than just a one-off blog post. That's really helpful. So there's a lot of different ways to make an income as a blogger, but I think those are the high-level few that people do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for digging into that. I think it's kind of like a bit of a mystery black box for people who are not, it's like, how do you make money doing this? So thank you so much for digging into that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so my last question would just be, so for somebody who, whether they are an NTP or NTC at this point, or they've decided to become one, they're thinking about it, and they know they want to move into this online marketing space, they want to build an online business, what would you say would be the next couple of steps that they should take to dig in and get started?
Yeah, so number one, obviously just making sure that you have a website that is functional, that is mobile friendly. You can start a Squarespace. I don't love Squarespace as much because it kind of locks you in with a lot of things. And if you wind up having the online portion of your business be bigger, you're going to want to be on WordPress. So either you can get a theme, you can start with just something really basic. In the beginning, I hired somebody to help me design a website for a small fee. So, just having somewhere to start, having all of those basics there, having the social media there, building an email list is really, really important, because that's another one of those things that is the next tier is blogging, email list, and then social media is what you really want to be thinking about. So the email list is people that you know that you can always reach. So you hear people on Instagram say like, oh, are people even seeing my posts? When you have somebody's email address, you're going to be able to reach them a lot easier. And of course, things will always go to spam sometimes, or people don't check their email. Like there's no 100% way to reach all these people all of the time, but you own your email list a lot more than you own your social media following, which could be anywhere at any point. So the thing that I like to tell people with building an email list is creating some sort of freebie. So for me, I have like a download, like 10 steps to heal your body, or you do 10 easy recipes, or my list of favorite healthy snacks to get from the grocery store, like something really easy and free that you know that your audience will want. And you can set up that automation in MailChimp or ConvertKit or anything like that. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be complicated. And that just helps you to start to grow that list. And then just making sure that you're putting out good quality content where you're engaging with people. And good quality content, like I said in the beginning, my content wasn't like the most highest quality, but the best quality content that you can come up with right now. Like, what is something that is just really on your mind that, like, you know what? Like, pumpkin spice season is coming up. I'm going to make a paleo pumpkin spice latte. Like, maybe people will like that. Just putting things out there and being consistent with it. Mm-hmm. I think, and just making sure that you're authentic all the time at the end of the day. All the technical stuff, you could watch this a year from now, and I could tell you a bunch of technical stuff that will have changed by then, and a bunch of little Instagram hacks and hashtag this and hashtag, all that's going to change. At the end of the day, like, what's going to keep people coming back to you is you and your unique message, your personality, like what you have to offer them and help them. And you can always Google best practices for Instagram, best practices for Pinterest, best practices for Google, like when you get there. Mm-hmm. But if you're starting out, just being like, what is my mission? Like, how do I really want to help people? What fires me up to just be able to help people? Like, how do I want to do it? How do I want people to relate to me? How do I want to relate to people? How can I serve people? Because I find so much value in people that have blogs. So there's so many people. Danielle Walker Against All Green, like, I've followed her for years, and I find so much value from her. And I could stand here forever and talk about a million different ones that I just find bloggers that I've been following since I was in high school that I follow now. And it's just people that you like. So remembering that first and foremost, not being like the most popular and the most, how do I optimize myself the most to be reachable on Instagram, but just being the most authentic and genuine, and I guess in like bachelor speak, like being in it for the right reasons, like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. That's beautifully stated. I really appreciate it. What a great, succinct, helpful summary of the essentials of really what you need to get started. So thank you. Thank you so much for that recap. We have a comment that came in from Annie. She mentioned, this has been incredibly helpful. You've answered most of the questions I've had floating around in my head lately. So thank you so much again, Michelle. This has been awesome.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your time.
Thank you for bearing with me.
Hey, no worries. These audio things happen. It's all good. No worries.
Yeah.
We made it work.
All right, well, thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Michelle. And thank you all for tuning in. We do have our career development course enrollment. It's coming to a close at the end of September. So if you're interested in digging more into a lot of the concepts that we covered here today, niching, mission, vision, social media, online, how to build a website. We dig into all of these things in the career development course. I'd love for you to join. I'm in there as a lead instructor along with Miriam Zacharias, who is the author of The Peace Process. We have some great mentors in there, and I'd love for you to join. So again, Michelle, thank you again so much for coming on today. And I hope
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And I hope all of you have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.